NSC lists Pakistan-based terrorist Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist after repeated efforts by China to block listing. Modi government hails UNSC decision. And Pakistan Prime Minister's big statement on India. Shehbaz Sharif claims Pakistan has learnt its lesson after 3 wars against us.
Pakistan has learnt its lesson. We had 3 wars with India. 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a result, it only brought more miseries.
All right, let's begin with breaking news coming in. Big update in the Delhi hit and track case as murder charges have finally been filed against all the accused in this case. Cops have said that after collection of physical, oral, forensic and other scientific evidence, these charges have been changed to murder instead of culpable homicide. Remember that this development also comes after the MHA had recommended and had said that the police must go ahead and ensure that this is a murder case, keeping in mind the details that emerged and how the accused, based on the evidence, were found to have dragged Anjali's body despite knowing that the body was attached to the wheel of their car. Shreya Chatterjee is joining us with more details on this. Shreya, a step that should have been taken from the get-go. Finally, now there seems to be some action being taken by the cops to ensure the accused don't get away with light charges.
Well, absolutely. So, Akshita, that's what now happened in the Kanjawala case. Remember, this has been a demand for a very long time, and it was yesterday in court that Delhi police said that they will be invoking murder charges, and that's what happened today. After gathering evidences, which is both physical, oral and forensic evidence, they have invoked Section 302. Important to mention that the police has also moved MFEC for the early grant of compensation to the family. Now we only hope that with this murder charges being invoked, the accused will get maximum punishment in this horrific incident that shook the entire country.
Very true, Shreya. And there will be questions of why the Delhi police didn't do this in the first place. This particular step has also been taken, Shreya, after the MHA had intervened. So that's an important point. Thanks for the moment for joining us. And let's get your inside details from the National Executive meet where Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed BJP Karyakartas. Highlights of what the Prime Minister has said is right here on India Today. He's essentially said that every day, different places, people must go, Karyakartas must go and spread the message. Let's cut across live to Devendra Fadnavis.
प्रयत्नों की पराकाष्ठा करें, अपने जीवन का क्षण क्षण और अपने शरीर का कण कण हम भारत की इस विकास गाथा में लगाए और भारत के इस सर्वोत्तम काल के साक्षी हम लोग बन सकते हैं। इस प्रकार की एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात उन्होंने कही और साथ साथ ये भी कहा कि इस अमृत काल को कर्तव्य काल में परिवर्तित करें, तभी हम अपने देश को तेजी के साथ आगे ले जा सकते हैं। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक प्रकार से ये बताया कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी अब केवल राजनीतिक आंदोलन भर नहीं है, तो उसका रूपांतरण एक सामाजिक आंदोलन में हुआ है, जो समाज के सामाजिक आर्थिक परिवर्तन के लिए काम करने वाला, कार्य करने वाला उपकरण इस रूप से आज कार्य कर रही है और उसी अनुरूप हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं ने भी काम करना चाहिए। साथ ही में उन्होंने कुछ कार्यक्रम भी हम लोगों को विशेष रूप से करने को कहा, जिसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मोर्चों के कार्यक्रम बॉर्डर विलेजेस के साथ हमारा संपर्क ज़्यादा बने, उनका मेन स्ट्रीमिंग ये हम लोग कर पाए और वहाँ पर हमारी एक्टिविटी बढ़े, ताकि हमारा संपर्क सूत्र भी वहाँ बने और हमारी विकास की योजनाएं भी बहुत तक पहुँचे। उसी प्रकार से आकांक्षी जिलों के विकास में भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं की भूमिका हो। जहाँ पर हम लोग अगर माल न्यूट्रिशन से लड़ाई कर रहे हैं तो क्यों ना भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता भी अपने ओर से वहाँ पर कोई ना कोई ऐसा कार्य चलाए कि जहाँ से न्यूट्रिशन मिशन को एक मदद हो। आकांक्षी जिलों में जो कार्य चल रहे हैं वो कार्य गति से हो, इस पर हम लोग ध्यान दें। उसमें कहीं कहीं गड़बड़ नहीं हो रही है, इसकी ओर हम ध्यान दें। ये बात भी उन्होंने हम सभी को बताई है। इसके साथ साथ एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत इस संकल्प को दोहराते हुए हमारे सारे राज्य एक दूसरे के साथ समन्वय करें, एक दूसरे के भाषा को, कल्चर को हम किस प्रकार से अपनाएं, किस प्रकार से उसके साथ हम लोग एक भावनात्मक रूप से जुड़े, इसके भी कार्यक्रम हो। जिस प्रकार से काशी में तमिल संगमम हुआ, उसी प्रकार से हम लोग अलग अलग भाषाओं को साथ में लेकर इस भारत को एक भारत के रूप में कैसे तैयार करें, ये भी बात उन्होंने हम सबके सामने रखी। एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात उन्होंने कही कि आज जैसे हमने बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ के माध्यम से विशेष रूप से जेंडर डिस्पैरिटी को दूर करने का प्रयास किया, और जिस प्रकार से उस बेटी को बचाने की कोशिश की जो बेटी समाज की कुरीतियों के कारण गर्भ में ही मारी जा रही थी, उन्होंने कहा इसी प्रकार से आज हमारी धरती माता की पुकार को भी हमें सुनना है। जिस प्रकार से हम लोग केमिकल्स का, फर्टिलाइजर्स का अनन्वित उपयोग करते हुए हमारी धरती माता को प्रदूषित कर रहे हैं, जिस प्रकार से आज इस प्रदूषण के कारण क्लाइमेट चेंज की विभीषिकाओं से, जलवायु परिवर्तन की विभीषिकाओं से हमें जूझना पड़ रहा है, हमको धरती माता की पुकार सुननी होगी और धरती माता की इस पुकार को सुनते हुए, चाहे वो प्राकृतिक खेती हो या एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन हो, इन सारे विषयों के ऊपर भारतीय जनता पार्टी को सरकार के साथ कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा। और इसमें हम किसानों को किस प्रकार से प्रेरित कर पाए, किस प्रकार से उनको मदद कर पाए, इसको एक मिशन के रूप में हम कैसे ले पाए, ताकि जलवायु परिवर्तन में और उसके खेती किसानी पर होने वाले परिणाम और उससे धरती माता पर होने वाले परिणाम, इसको हम कैसे दूर करें, इसके ऊपर भी हम लोग कार्य करें। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये भी कहा कि विशेष रूप से हम लोग 18 से 25 इस आयु की जो हमारी तरुणाई है, इस तरुणाई ने भारत के राजनीतिक इतिहास को देखा नहीं है। उन्हें पता नहीं है कि भारत में पिछली सरकारों में किस प्रकार से अनाचार, दुराचार और भ्रष्टाचार देखा गया, किस प्रकार का कुशासन था और कहां भारत आज चलते हुए आया है और किस प्रकार से हम सुशासन की ओर जा रहे हैं। इसलिए 18 से 25 इस आयु के जो हमारे युवा है, इनमें भी जागृति तैयार करना, इनको भी लोकतंत्र के मूल्यों के साथ जोड़ने की कोशिश करना और साथ साथ किस प्रकार से के कुशासन से हम सुशासन की ओर आए हैं, ये बताकर उनको सुशासन के साथ जोड़ना और सुशासन का महत्व क्या है, सुशासन से देश कैसे परिवर्तित होता है, ये सारी बातें उन तक पहुंचाने का काम भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी को आने वाले दिनों में करना है। साथ साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी भाजपा जोड़ो अभियान चलाएगी, जिसमें सभी लोगों को भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ जोड़ने का प्रयास हम करेंगे। और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बात बहुत स्पष्टता से बताई कि हम लोगों को संवेदनशीलता के साथ समाज के सभी अंगों के साथ अपना रिश्ता जोड़ना है। आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी सभी समाजों तक पहुंची है, लेकिन कहीं पर अगर कोई कमी है भी दूर करना होगा। और साथ साथ ये भी संदेशा उन्होंने दिया कि ये सारी चीज़ें करते हुए केवल वोट की चिंता मत कीजिए, वोट के लिए ये सारी चीज़ें मत कीजिए, हमें देश और समाज को बदलना है, ये हमारा कर्तव्य है। कोई वोट दे या न दे, अगर हम इस सामाजिक काम को आगे करते जाएंगे, लोगों को जोड़ते जाएंगे, तो लोग हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे। इसलिए कोरी राजनीति का विचार न करते हुए हम समाज नीति को लेकर किस प्रकार से अपने देश के इस अमृत काल को नए रूप से परिभाषित कर पाए, इसकी ओर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज़्यादा ध्यान दे। एक और चीज़ प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हम सभी को बताई है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक ऐसी पार्टी है जिसमें बड़े पैमाने पर सदस्यता होती है और एक लोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया से यहाँ सभी का चयन होता है। लेकिन हम लोग इन सदस्यों का सम्मेलन नहीं करते, और इसलिए उन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ये सूचना की है कि जो हमारे प्राथमिक सदस्य हैं, जो हमारे प्राइमरी मेंबर्स हैं, ये प्राइमरी मेंबर्स का भी हम लोग एक सम्मेलन करें, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में वो सम्मेलन करें, और उसकी भी रचना आने वाले दिनों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी करेगी। कुल मिलाकर मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि आज का भाषण ये किसी राजनीतिक नेता का भाषण नहीं था, किसी पॉलिटिकल लीडर का भाषण नहीं था, एक स्टेट्समैन का भाषण था, जिसमें पार्टी से भी ऊपर देश और देश के लिए पार्टी, इस प्रकार की संकल्पना हमारे सामने प्रधानमंत्री जी ने रखी है। और मेरा विश्वास है कि जो मार्ग प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दिखाया है उस पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी चलेगी और इन सारे संकल्पों को पूरा करेगी, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि जो संकल्प करता है वही इतिहास रचता है, और भारतीय जनता पार्टी को संकल्प भी करना है और भारत के लिए इतिहास भी रचना है।
कोई सवाल हो? न्यूज़ 24 से गौरव।
Okay, so Devendra Fadnavis is the Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister, highlighting all of the big takeaways from the National Executive meet, particularly focusing on what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said. His message to BJP Karyakartas is essentially to focus on creating a larger base for the Saffron Party across the country, saying go to every nook and cranny, spread the message, and that makes a difference. Let's cut across live again.
उन्होंने अपने भाषण में नहीं कही, हाँ ये जरूर कहा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मजबूत कीजिए और हर जगह पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी पहुंचे, ये प्रयास कीजिए।
विकास चंद्रा, न्यूज़ नेशन, बोलिए।
कार्यकारिणी की बैठक हुई, बैठक में क्या प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने सिर्फ जो आपने कहा कि स्टेट्समैन की तरह उन्होंने बात कही, संगठन को लेकर के भी क्या कुछ उन्होंने बातें कही, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से आगे चुनाव है और तमाम सारी चुनौती है उसको लेकर?
देखिए, ये पूरी बातें संगठन के लिए ही थी। भारतीय जनता पार्टी किस प्रकार से अपने संगठन को देश के विकास के इस अमृत काल में जोड़े। मैं फिर एक बार कहना चाहता हूँ, उन्होंने बहुत एक ऐसी बात कही है कि ऐसा काल जो अभी आता हुआ दिखाई पड़ रहा है, ये शायद अगर हम लोग इस काल को अगर हमारी विकास यात्रा में परिवर्तित नहीं कर पाए तो हम पीछे छूट जाएंगे। इसलिए अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपनी पूरी ताकत इस अमृत काल को विकास काल में परिवर्तित करने में लगाए।
स्मृति काक रामचंद्रन, हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स।
सर, पिछली बार पीएम ने बोला था कि देयर शुड बी एन आउटरीच टुवर्ड्स द माइनॉरिटीज, स्पेशली द मार्जिनलाइज्ड माइनॉरिटीज अमंग द मुस्लिम्स। उसका कोई रिव्यू हुआ कि वो कितना हो पाया है, और डू यू गेट अ सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ अ डायरेक्टिव दिस टाइम आल्सो?
देखिए, जो पिछले बार कहा था उसका एक कार्यक्रम भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने तैयार किया, और प्रधानमंत्री जी हमेशा कहते हैं कि जब तक समाज के मार्जिनलाइज्ड लोग जो है वो किसी भी समाज के हो, उनको मुख्य धारा में नहीं लाएंगे, तब तक देश की विकास यात्रा अधूरी होगी। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी लगातार ये प्रयास भी कर रहा है।
विकास भदौरिया, एबीपी।
सर, आपने कहा, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बोला कि धरती माँ की पुकार सुनना भी जरूरी है। उन्होंने किस कंटेक्स्ट में ये बोला? क्या कोई एग्जाम्पल दिया अपने भाषण के दौरान?
जी देखिए, उन्होंने ये कहा कि जिस समय हमारे यहाँ पर एक जेंडर डिस्पैरिटी तैयार हुई थी, उस समय हम लोग ये कहते थे कि जो पेट में बच्चियाँ हैं उनकी पुकार सुनिए, उनको जन्म लेना है, उनको इस धरती पर कुछ करना है। वो जैसी पुकार हम लोगों ने सुनी, आज उसी प्रकार की एक पुकार धरती माता कर रही है कि मैंने आपको सब दिया, मैंने आपको पेड़ दिए, मैंने आपको अनाज दिया, लेकिन आज मेरे साथ जो व्यवहार हो रहा है, ये व्यवहार एक प्रकार से विनाश की ओर ले जा रहा है, और ये धरती माता की जो पुकार है, इसको हमको सुनना होगा।
संतोष पाठक।
देवेंद्र जी, आपने कहा कि कार्यकारिणी की बैठक में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि संवेदनशीलता के साथ समाज के सारे तबकों के साथ रिश्ता कायम करना है, तो क्या कुछ खास तबकों का उन्होंने नाम भी लिया, जिक्र भी किया?
नहीं, देखिए, समाज के सभी तबकों का अर्थ ये होता है कि सारे के सारे, उसमें पर्टिकुलर ये तबका या वो तबका नहीं, समाज के जितने पिछड़े हैं ये सभी को हम लोग किस प्रकार से मुख्य धारा में ला पाए, इसका प्रयास हमको करना है।
द ट्रिब्यून सर।
Devendra ji, I am Aditi Tandon from the Tribune. I just wanted to ask that opposition's negative propaganda and campaign against the Prime Minister featured in the political resolution. Did the Prime Minister comment on the opposition's role in Amrit Kal?
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने केवल इतना ही कहा कि हम ये अपेक्षा करते हैं कि इस यात्रा में सभी लोग अपनी अपनी भूमिका निभाए, और उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि हम कभी भी अपोजिशन को कमज़ोर नहीं समझते, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अब ये ताकत तैयार की है कि हम अपने भरोसे ये सामाजिक आर्थिक परिवर्तन की लड़ाई तेजी से आगे ले जा सकते हैं।
चित्रा त्रिपाठी, आज तक।
देवेंद्र जी, मेरा सवाल ये है, क्या प्रधानमंत्री की ओर से ये भी कहा गया कि चुनाव में सिर्फ 400 दिन तकरीबन बाकी हैं, ऐसे में सभी समाज के तबकों तक जाएं, और क्या पसमानदा और बोरा मुसलमानों का भी जिक्र करते हुए स्पेसिफिक ये कहा गया कि वो आपको वोट करें या ना करें, लेकिन उनका साथ और उन पर विश्वास जमाने की पूरी कोशिश बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ताओं की ओर से की जानी चाहिए? देखिए, ये जरूर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि चुनाव में 400 दिन है, तो हमारे इस कार्यकाल की सेवा के लिए हमारे पास 400 दिन शेष है। ये 400 दिन हम मतदाताओं की पूरी सेवा करें। उन्होंने स्पेसिफिक ये समाज या वो समाज ऐसा न कहते हुए सारे समाज, जितने मार्जिनलाइज समाज है, सबका उल्लेख किया है।
सुजीत ठाकुर भास्कर।
देवेंद्र जी, आपने कहा कि 18 से 25 आयु वर्ग वाले जो हैं, प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा उन्होंने देखा नहीं पीछे जो भी अच्छी बुरी बातें जो भी रही हूँ, तो क्या वो जो निगेटिविटी था उसके बारे में बताएंगे कि हम कैसे अच्छे शासन की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तो उसको भूलिए, क्या स्पेसिफिक क्या था वो चीज़?
देखिए, बहुत स्पष्ट रूप से
So we'll continue tracking the takeaways from that press conference that's currently underway. Devendra Fadnavis briefing the media about what was discussed in the National Executive Meet. I want to bring in our National Affairs editor Rahul Srivastava on this. Rahul, many takeaways essentially from the Prime Minister's interaction with BJP leaders, with Karyakartas. He's put the focus on 2024, saying, look, we've got less than 400 days to go. Let's hit the ground running right away. He's spoken about reaching out to the Muslim community. He's also spoken out to all of those controversial figures within the BJP, in a sense, saying don't take your power for granted.
Yes, I think the one very clear clarion call which has gone out from Prime Minister's speech at the National Executive to the party cadres is that there is just 400 days left. That's a very clear indication that the Prime Minister is telling the cadres that the time to start working for 2024, that should be the focus. Starts yesterday. Beyond that, if you see, there is a very distinct attempt by the Prime Minister to send out a signal to the cadres, yes, to utilize the moment where India is right now. I think since G20 and such events are going to play a major role or maybe a major campaign of the BJP in the coming days, since India has the presidency this time around, I think the Prime Minister is also trying to showcase and asking the cadres to showcase what the BJP and the BJP's government has been achieving. The idea is to create a bouquet of issues before the people. But there is also one thing very interesting I find, that the Prime Minister, it's an exercise I think started sometime in May this year, where Prime Minister made several comments which were can be seen more as an attempt to rise above day-to-day bread and butter politics, to emerge more statesmanly. And I think if you see a lot of comments that irrespective of whether people vote for you or not, bring people into the party fold, all these are attempts by the Prime Minister to perhaps deflect the charge that under him the BJP has become more tolerant. And if you see, when I say that, that's the main theme of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. So I think that indirect reference definitely is there. He's asking the cadres to perhaps create and present an image in which the BJP seems more inclusive, more encompassing as far as the segments of the society is concerned, so that somewhere that blemish that the BJP is exclusive in its politics can be shed. Otherwise, I think it's a very clear call by the Prime Minister in terms of the Vikas Yatra and the Amrit Kal mentioned. The idea is to tell that right now India is on a slight high, on a high, definitely, given the fact that despite the whole world going through inflationary trends, supply crises, in that India perhaps has been able to tame inflation better. The growth data still is more encouraging than several parts of the world. And I think the idea is also messages to all the state chief ministers and others to become part of this moment where they can actually deliver better to the people so that 2024 can be an easier battle.
You know, it's very different. It's a clear contrast that you can draw between the comments and the speeches that Prime Minister Modi makes at rallies versus this one, where he's essentially kind of taking in all the criticism that comes the BJP's way and then directing Karyakartas, directing BJP leaders to work on that as well. So this is the Prime Minister acknowledging that, look, we need to work on our shortcomings going forward. Thanks very much, Rahul, for joining us with your insight also on the National Executive Meet. But this evening, I also want to focus on one particular aspect of the National Executive Meet, which is that in the 2 days, we've seen specific references, particular references to two states. In 2023, the BJP has a mission to conquer Telangana and to hold on to Karnataka and thereby ensure that they create more space and outreach per se to the south of the country. Two big states that go into elections this year, and the BJP is keeping their focus on that. let's first focus on what's happening in Karnataka and how Prime Minister Modi personally intervened in this matter. There's been a lot of talk about Yediyurappa, former Chief Minister, stalwart, senior BJP leader, being snubbed, being completely sidelined by the party leaders. The most recent example was the fact that he didn't get an invite when the Prime Minister was in Karnataka, when he was in Hubli. So reportedly yesterday, Prime Minister Modi spoke to Yediyurappa, clearing all the air about him being sidelined. It was a 15-minute personal one-on-one meet between Yediyurappa and Prime Minister Modi. Let's get you all the inside details of what happened in that huddle.
He is a stalwart in Karnataka's politics. He is the architect of several BJP wins and the biggest Lingayat face in Karnataka. B.S. Yediyurappa's legacy in Karnataka politics can never be ignored. And yet the BJP seems to have chosen not just to sideline, but also snub BSY again and again and again. It isn't the first time that a no invite to Yediyurappa has set tongues wagging. Just weeks ago, the absence of the senior leader from Amit Shah's Mandya rally raised eyebrows. The who's who of BJP's Karnataka leadership was there, but not Yediyurappa, who even hails from Mandya. It's become a habit of sorts. A central BJP leader touches down and Yediyurappa goes missing. The Karnataka BJP has been firefighting these rumours for some time now. When BJP chief JP Nadda visited Koppal in December, Yediyurappa wasn't invited and reportedly expressed his displeasure, prompting a last-minute personal invite from the state unit. But BSY has time and again quelled all this talk, saying all is well.
ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನ ಹಗಲು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ನೆಗ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಥರ ಮಾತುಗಳು ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ಥರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಒಂದಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಏಕೈಕ ಗುರಿ ಬರುವಂಥ ದಿವಸಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಜೆಪಿನ ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ತರುವುದು.
CM Basavaraj Bommai too has attempted damage control, saying there was no question of his predecessor being sidelined.
ಅದು ಶುದ್ಧ ಸುಳ್ಳು. ಸರ್ವೋಚ್ಚ ನಾಯಕರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ನಮಗಿದೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಡ್ಡಾಜಿಯವರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ತಂದೆ ಮಗನ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಊಹೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ನಿರಾಶೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
But the worry for the Karnataka BJP is also the rumblings within.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಸಭೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈಗ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿನೂ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷದ ವರಿಷ್ಠ ನಾಯಕರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರು ಕೂಡ ಒಬ್ರು. ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಯಾವುದೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವರೇ ಕರೆದ್ರು. ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೆರಡು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಭಾವಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭಿನ್ನಾಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಇರೋದೇನು ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಜೆಪಿಲೂ ಇದೆ.
All this talk of dissent within the BJP ranks has the Congress rubbing its hands in glee. The grand old party has been plagued by the infighting, courtesy the DK Sidda tussle, and is now making the most of this development.
Law Minister Madhuswamy has very clearly said, this is not a government, we are a management company, we are just killing our time and managing people. So much of discord, so much of misunderstanding, so much of groupism. Mr. Yediyurappa is looking other way, Yediyurappa is looking other way, Jagdish Shettar is already been finished. Mr. Bommai is just killing his time and doing whatever needs to be done. So this is not a government, this is a circus. This party is not united.
Sources have told India Today that Prime Minister Modi met with Yediyurappa at the National Executive meet in Delhi in 10 minutes. A clear attempt by the Prime Minister himself to iron out any possibility of a revolt by Yediyurappa. With Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Hubli, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, and I'd like to introduce now on this broadcast R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist who tracks very closely Karnataka politics. Mr. Upadhyay, pleasure having you with me here on 6 p.m. Prime. I happen to read your column also on Yediyurappa, sir, and I'm curious to know, do you think all is well? The BJP, of course, is trying to claim there's no problem, but obviously there's no smoke without fire. And it's clear that Yediyurappa is disgruntled. But with a 15-minute meet with Prime Minister Modi, do you think that'll iron out all issues?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But it's very clear that Mr. Yediyurappa is not happy for quite some time, and he believes that he is not being shown the respect that he deserves, and is not being taken into confidence on many important issues. And I think that's the crux of the matter. Unless Bommai and others, sit down with him and find out what his, the issues are, it's going to blow over, and it's going to be blow out, and it's going to be very difficult to control. And I think the Prime Minister did well to assure him that he is very much required in the party, and the party looks up to him to win the next election, because Mr. Yediyurappa can pull 5 to 6% of the votes. I mean, he's the tallest leader in the party, and he's the only vote catcher, not Mr. Bommai. Bommai, is just managing the affairs of the state. But Mr. Yediyurappa, under unfortunate circumstances, had to leave chief ministership in August 2021. But, Mr. Prime Minister is trying to hold on to him for, various reasons. He made him the member of the parliamentary board and the Central Election Committee in August. But still, I think he's getting all kinds of unnecessary insults, which is really making him
where does the sidelining and the snubbing really stem from? Because the BJP doesn't have a prominent face. And if Prime Minister Modi is going the extra mile to kind of reach out to Yediyurappa, where does the sidelining and the snubbing constantly in Karnataka stem from?
I think it has something to do with Mr. B.L. Santosh, who is very close to the central leadership, and he sits in Delhi. He's a
Apologies, we've lost that connection with Mr. Upadhyay, but he made a very important point there. Most of the reports suggest that the reason Yediyurappa is being sidelined is because of a very, very important leader, B.L. Santosh, who calls a lot of the shots for the BJP in Karnataka. So while the central BJP, Prime Minister Modi, is trying to show that Yediyurappa is still relevant for the party, B.L. Santosh seems to be holding a grudge, which translates to these problems of sidelining, snubbing, etc. But can the BJP actually afford to go ahead and dismiss or sideline BSY the way they currently are, and that in the run-up to an election? B.S. Yediyurappa, I have no doubt in your mind, is still very much relevant in Karnataka politics. He's an old horse, senior, veteran politician, but someone who's still very much relevant and very important for the BJP. Let's tell you why. The most important point is the fact that he represents the Lingayat community, the tallest, most recognized Lingayat leader right now for the BJP. And it's also their biggest vote bank. They cannot afford to irk this community. So they will try to hold on to BSY, because if they sideline him, snub him further, it could lead to a problem with the Lingayat vote bank. There's also the fact that the BJP doesn't have a face in Karnataka like Yediyurappa. He's the only BJP leader right now with a mass pan-Karnataka appeal. Many still associate the Karnataka BJP with him because Basuraj Bommai hasn't been able to create the kind of impact that Yediyurappa has managed to. And it's not just about the people of Karnataka, but within the BJP as well. Many of the defectors who switched from Congress and JDS over the years to the BJP still back Yediyurappa because it was his doing of getting them on to the BJP. So that is another crucial aspect, that if there is any sort of ignoring the BSY factor, many of the leaders could jump back, could choose BSY. The BJP has been singed before, but only lost. Why? Because they were missing this man. They were missing the BSY factor. Yediyurappa at that point, again miffed with the BJP, had left. He had started the Karnataka Janata Party, the KJP, and ensured BJP's defeat essentially because he took a huge chunk of the BJP's votes with him when he left the party. Then, of course, a few years later, there was a reconciliation. The KJP was merged with the BJP. He was back with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So they've seen the impact of a sans Yediyurappa Karnataka BJP, and it hasn't been good for the Saffron Party. Sagai Raj is joining us live from Bengaluru with more details on this. Sagai, what are you hearing from your sources? Is the BSY camp kind of happy now? Have they settled down because Prime Minister Modi is directly intervened?
No, so far the BSY office is tight-lipped when it comes to any kind of conversation with Prime Minister Modi. But as you rightly pointed out, that he was been sidelined from past few days. And Akshita, as you have highlighted the importance of B.S. Yediyurappa from past few years, you have shown that how important and instrumental role that B.S. Yediyurappa has played. And let me add a few more things with the list of you that you have mentioned. One of those is that when the first time BJP came to power in Karnataka in South India, B.S. Yediyurappa was the chief minister. And who was the chief guest on that particular oath-taking ceremony? It was then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, who had attended the oath-taking ceremony of B.S. Yediyurappa when he became the chief minister. And in 2014, when KJP was merged with BJP, even at that point of time, B.S. Yediyurappa was unhappy with BJP, but still it was Modi who had convinced him to merge the party and asked B.S. Yediyurappa to contest on a Lok Sabha seat. And that's when he had contested instead of his son Raghavendra from Shimoga as an MP, and he has won. And even at that point of time, Modi was happy with them. And that is the reason they have promised that he will be the next chief ministerial candidate.
Is that Prime Minister Modi has repeatedly intervened to ensure that B.S. Yediyurappa is kept happy, and he's personally intervened in these matters because he knows Yediyurappa is crucial for the Karnataka BJP. But does the state unit actually recognize that is the question. Thanks very much, Sagai, for getting us those details. We'll continue to track what's happening in Karnataka because the BJP is doing everything they can to retain the state. But let's also talk about Telangana right now, where the Bharatiya Janata Party is trying as much as they can with everything they have to oust KCR, to oust the BRS. Sounding the poll bugle in Telangana, Prime Minister Modi has spoken about the yatra that's happening in the state. Heaping praise on the Telangana BJP chief, on Bandi Sanjay, Prime Minister Modi has said that other states should emulate the same model. He's also said that senior BJP leaders should go down to Telangana, be a part of these massive yatras, these massive rallies to take on the KCR government.
Telangana, the throne of KCR, is on BJP's radar now. Amid vicious election campaigns, all-out BJP versus BRS fights, the Telangana battle this year is going to be one of the most interesting elections. And now Prime Minister Modi too has put his focus on Telangana with one mission: to dethrone K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Sources have told India Today that Prime Minister Modi stressed on the need for top BJP leaders to visit Telangana and take part in massive rallies and yatras in the poll-bound state.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also said that 5 prominent people of all fronts from all states should go to Telangana and join the yatra to see how a huge yatra is going on under the leadership of Telangana State President Bandi Sanjay.
The Prime Minister heaped praise on Telangana BJP chief Bandi Sanjay Kumar, asking other state units to replicate the Praja Sangram Yatra, which is being led by Bandi Sanjay. The Telangana BJP chief took to Twitter to thank Prime Minister Modi for his praise.
It is a privilege and an inspiration words from the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji with regard to the Telangana activities and the activities taken up by Sri Bandi Sanjay, the State President of the Bharatiya Janata Party. His hard work, his Padayatra and his restless work for developing the party is definitely an advantage for the BJP in the state.
The Prime Minister's focus on Telangana comes amid an aggressive campaign by the BJP that's underway in the state already. So expect their campaigns to be shifted now to top gear.
हम तमिलनाडु और दक्षिण के राज्यों में भी तेलंगाना में भी एक ताकत बनकर धीरे-धीरे सैन उभर कर आ रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, the BRS has laughed off the BJP's intent to take over Telangana, questioning what the Modi government has done so far to help the state.
BJP State President Bandi Sanjay's statements on the directions of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to do a lot of propaganda and publicity in Telangana is absolutely hilarious, because unfortunately Bharatiya Janata Party, which is in power in government of India, has done nothing for Telangana.
The BRS meanwhile has a double agenda to focus on.
the 2023 Telangana and 2024 national elections. With KCR changing his party from TRS to BRS, he is now focusing his energy on the national campaign. KCR will be accompanied by 3 state chief ministers, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann. SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav and CPI National Secretary D. Raja will also be present. The stage is set for a mega political battle in Telangana, and Prime Minister Modi, with his war cry for Telangana, has set the ball rolling for an all-out saffron campaign in the state. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me quickly get in Abdul Bashir, who's joining us live from Kamama in Telangana. That's where the BRS is holding this massive rally tomorrow. Abdul, the question right now, with the BJP making it clear that they want to focus on gaining Telangana, on winning in Telangana, is whether KCR is as focused. He seems to have national ambitions in mind. He seems to be looking at 2024. But is he taking Telangana for granted?
See, while we speak about Telangana, tomorrow is the first meeting that is going to be held, the public meeting by the BRS. It is said to be a mammoth, huge public meeting where 5 lakh people have been expected in this meeting. While we talk about the KCR taking Telangana for granted, then as we have seen in the recent election, of Munugodu, where the BJP candidate who was a rebel from Congress had lost to the TRS candidate over there. But now, when 2024 elections are ahead, it is to be seen as to how the BRS party is going ahead with its agenda, with the farmer-centric agenda. The roadmap for the national arena has been set, and also simultaneously the state elections will be held in the same manner, in the same time span. So the preparations for the upcoming elections have been begun in the state of Telangana, with KCR holding this huge public meeting, and also
we'll
the
be
BJP
seeing members from different opposition parties descending where Abdul is in Khammam, which is where the meeting is happening tomorrow. Thanks, Abdul, for the moment, for getting us that ground report. With that, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side, I'm getting you an exclusive ground report by Ashutosh Mishra from the holy shrine of Badrinath in Uttarakhand, which is covered in a thick blanket of snow, as you can see on your screens there.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams.
The equity market is a dynamic space that needs sharper insights and perfect timing. What stock, what fund, what to pick and what to sell.
How do you make money on the markets? And what are the superior strategies for a winning portfolio?
Your questions answered by 30 years of undisputed leadership.
Only at the Market Today Summit.
There's been so much concern about whether there's going to be a marked slowdown and IT companies will only report maybe middling single-digit growth. What did you take away from the TCS and Infosys numbers? Because you have a significant holding in TCS.
A global recession, what IT demand will conk off. So I'm a shareholder in Accenture. We are shareholders in TCS, and some of our advisory portfolios we had Infosys. I haven't seen either in realized numbers from Accenture, from TCS, from Infosys, either in the realized numbers or on their guidance on pipeline or on their recruitment, any sign of any weakness in demand. And the reason for that is not very hard to guess. They're trying to sort of be bearish on IT is like being bearish on steam engines in the middle of the industrial revolution. It's honestly as bad as that. Right? At a time when every IT company is telling you that the transition to cloud is only 30% done, at a time when you and I can read in the newspapers ChatGPT is coming, to be bearish on IT is as mad as trying to say steam engines are going to have a bear market for a couple of years, even though this is the height of the industrial revolution. That aside, if you and I do believe that the West is heading into a recession, that presumably increases the pressure on the Fortune 500 companies to outsource even more to India, not less. So I've never quite understood what brokers were trying to achieve last year, but trying to scare people out of IT stocks. We loved it. We bought a little bit more TCS, and in the last 3-4 months in our advisory portfolios, we built a position in Infosys. In my personal capacity, I've owned Accenture for now 20 years, since the IPO actually.
What have been the notable new purchases or inclusions in your mid-cap, small-cap portfolio over the next 3-4 months, over the last 3-4 months, Saurabh, that you can think of?
So let's start with PATH again. So it's notable that the one part of the country where Dr. Lal hasn't been very successful, which is South India. The South Indian PATH market is materially different from the rest of the country, in that South India is more prosperous, and therefore PATH and radiology is integrated there, whereas in Delhi or Kolkata, PATH and radiology is separate, and that means Dr. Lal's business model works very nicely in Eastern India and Northern India. And South, Dr. Lal business model, because it doesn't have radio and it doesn't quite work, and South Indians are too busy to go to one place for PATH and another place for radio. So in the South Indian market, we did a bunch of research for 4-5 months, and we figured out that Vijaya Diagnostics, based in Hyderabad and dominant in Telangana and Andhra, has built a fabulous franchise, very similar ROCs, 40% ROCs, similar to Dr. Lal, but great reputation amongst radiologists, the state-of-the-art radiology kit. And as we traveled around Andhra and Telangana, cities like Vijayawada, cities like Warangal, we figured out that this is a kind of mini monopoly in a specific part of the country. So we loaded up on that in our small cap portfolio in Little Champs. In our mid cap portfolio, we've historically had GMM Founder. So we've historically had Alkyl Amines. We've added to that ICICI Lombard on the general insurance side. And in our small cap portfolio, around a year or so, we added a company called Poshak.
The holy shrine of Badrinath in Uttarakhand is covered in a thick blanket of snow. The region witnessed heavy snowfall, resulting in a dip of temperatures to -16 degrees Celsius. Here's a report by Ashutosh Mishra, an exclusive ground report from the Badrinath Mandir.
This is the Badrinath shrine in Uttarakhand's Chamoli. At a height of 3,133 meters. Wrapped in a blanket of snow 2 to 3 inches thick. The temperature has plunged 16 degrees below zero.
You only get to see the images of the holy shrine Badrinath when the kapats are open.
For the first time in Badrinath, the holy pond is frozen. The Indo-Tibetan border police has been deployed to keep vigil around the Snowden temple.
यात्रा शुरू होने के पहले बद्रीनाथ के इस पूरे प्रांगण में सन्नाटा पसरा हुआ है। यहाँ अगर कुछ दिखती है तो वो है सिर्फ सफेद बर्फ। हालांकि हर साल के मुकाबले लगता है इस बार बर्फबारी काफी कम हुई है। यहाँ 2 से 4 फीट तक बर्फ जमा होती थी, लेकिन इस बार ये महज कुछ इंचों में है। और ठंड का आलम ऐसा है कि ये जो पीछे आगे मंगल द्वार पर एक तालाब है, और ये देख रहे हैं आप जो पूरी छोटा सा तालाब है, इसके पानी की ऊपरी जो परत है वो पूरी तरह से जमकर पपड़ी हो चुकी है।
The entire region remains covered in a thick layer of snow. The sub-zero temperature means even breathing at this high altitude is tough. Badrinath temple is among the 4 shrines that are part of the Char Dham Yatra and is highly revered by Hindu devotees. Devotees not only from India but across the world come to get a glimpse of Badrinath temple. The shrine opens its doors to pilgrims after winter, but with Joshimath, the base camp of Badrinath pilgrims, sinking, it remains to be seen how the government facilitates the Char Dham Yatra this year. With Ashutosh Mishra in Badrinath, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's all we have time for in this edition of 6 p.m. Prime. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up on the other side is 7 at 7 with Preeti Chaudhary. She's getting you details of the big controversy on board an Indigo flight. Allegedly, the emergency exit door is opened. The Congress is alleging that it was BJP MP Tejaswi Surya who did so.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hit the ground right before joining the crucial two-day BJP National Executive meet. The Prime Minister took out a roadshow in the national capital. While the roadshow itself was short, the messaging around it was loud and clear. The BJP is battle-ready for 2024. The hoarding at the venue entrance reflected the BJP's poll plank, Hindutva, Nationalism and Vikas. A series, state elections this year, will set the momentum for the big finale in 2024.
Honorable the party president exhorted all the members of the National Executive to be ready with full commitment to ensure that the BJP wins all the 9 assembly polls scheduled for 2023.
The BJP is finalizing its war strategy even as Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is nearing the end of his Kanyakumari to Kashmir Padyatra.